The next time Peter sees Gwen is at the Silver Spoon. He enters to get out of the rain and finds her at a table with Harry and Flash. After it's brought up how he missed class that morning, Gwen offers to fill Peter in on what he missed, so Peter sits down to study. However, the banter around the table prevents them from being able to focus. Then, Mary Jane walks in, making her stunning entrance, and Gwen watches unimpressed as all the guys swoon over her. When MJ tells Gwen that she heard Peter mention her, Gwen flatly responds, "How nice." Then, as MJ steals Peter away on a date to see a local guitarist play in town, Gwen becomes jealous, claiming she doesn't know what's gotten into a scholarship student like Peter and that he can't afford to let his studies slide. Later, when Peter is forced to cancel some dates with Mary Jane due to being Spider-Man, her carefree response makes him assume that she's not that interested in him and is writing him off. Then, after Gwen invites Peter to Flash's farewell party through Harry, Peter asks why Gwen didn't invite him herself. Harry responds that Peter's been away a lot recently, especially since Mary Jane arrived. This makes Peter think about how he never had a chance to date Gwen, and how Mary Jane just popped up between them. Furthermore, Peter later sees Mary Jane hanging out with Harry, and though she invites Peter to join them, he declines while assuming that she doesn't really care about dating him, and is happy to let any guy take her out for fun. On Peter's next visit to the Silver Spoon, Gwen catches his eye while dancing. However, when Peter leaves to go after the shocker, Gwen invites Harry to dance with her. Later at school, while Gwen is busy inviting the students to Flash's party, Harry and Peter show up. As she playfully trades jokes and witty remarks with them, Gwen briefly becomes self-aware that she's starting to sound just like Mary Jane. She then tells Peter that he can bring MJ to Flash's party, and then turns her attention to Harry, causing Peter to assume that she isn't interested in him. Still, he invites Gwen to join him for a soda to go over their schoolwork, but Gwen declines as she's busy planning the party, and adds a stinging response that she's sure that Mary Jane can help him instead. Hearing this, Peter figures he deserves it, as whenever Gwen wanted to be friendly with him, he was never around. Later, the night of Flash's party arrives, and Peter and Harry pick up Gwen and Mary Jane. Upon their arrival, MJ compliments Gwen on her decorations, and Gwen modestly replies that it beats dancing on the sidewalks. After Flash arrives, MJ takes Peter to the dance floor, and when Harry asks Gwen if they're going to let them hog the spotlight, a jealous Gwen states that MJ was supposed to help her pass out the burgers. Then, Gwen gets on the dance floor herself and cuts loose, stealing away the attention, making MJ jealous. Unfortunately, Craven suddenly crashes the party while looking for Harry, causing an alarmed Gwen to yell for someone to call the police. But Peter quickly changes into Spider-Man to battle the villain, while Gwen and Flash carry a shaken Harry back indoors. After the battle, Peter returns to the gang with the excuse that he was trying to take pictures. Gwen remarks that the incident will certainly give Flash a send-off to remember, and after Peter gives Flash his best wishes, they say their goodbyes. Days later, Peter compliments Gwen's hair in the hall, but Harry embarrasses Peter, stating, "No wonder Peter likes your hair, Gwen. It's more like the way Mary Jane's been wearing hers." Soon after, Peter gets sick, and Gwen comes to visit and cheer him up with Mary Jane. Unfortunately, since he's ill in bed, the girls must leave without seeing him, so Gwen offers to take MJ to pick up some movie magazines instead. As they leave, Gwen asks Ame to tell Peter that they stopped by, and to call if she needs anything. Next, Peter misses out on a date invitation from Gwen, and hasn't had time to see Mary Jane lately anyway, due to all the complications Spider-Man creates in his life. Tired of it all, Peter finally gives up being Spider-Man, resulting in him having more time on his hands. The next day, he helps Gwen deliver a letter she wrote to Flash Thompson, and while Peter asks if she likes Flash, Gwen drops hints that she likes Peter instead. After the ride, Peter's interest in Gwen has grown, and he rides away while wishing he had a chance to be with her. Finally, after class, Peter asks Gwen out, but she can't go because she has a date with Harry that night. Even so, Gwen drops major hints that Peter is her crush. Soon, after Peter returns to being Spider-Man, Gwen goes out on her date with Harry, and when MJ sees the two of them together, she confronts Gwen about her feelings for Peter. While Harry assumes MJ is just joking, Gwen avoids answering MJ's questions directly, instead simply stating that she thinks it's time that she and Harry get home. Sometime later, Flash makes a surprise appearance at the Silver Spoon after returning from his military service. Upon seeing him, Gwen gives him a hug and tells him he's looking great, and when Flash plays into her compliment, Gwen sarcastically responds that it must be from the shyness lessons he took from Mary Jane. Flash then asks if MJ and Peter are still dating, but Gwen changes the subject to ask about Flash's army life. After Flash makes up a tall tale regarding the details of his service, Mary Jane arrives, and Gwen then suggests they need to arrange a party for Flash once Peter arrives. Unfortunately, Peter is too busy dealing with the Kingpin to make an appearance. The next day, Flash spots Spider-Man swing over campus and excitedly grabs Gwen to get her attention. After Gwen comments on how big a fan Flash is of Spider-Man, she questions how he can be sure he isn't someone that he dislikes beneath the mask. Just then, Harry shows up to complain about how Peter is never around, and when Flash calls Peter an itch, Gwen only replies that she'd rather itch than switch. Soon in the hall, Gwen runs into Peter, and after he asks if she's doing anything special that evening, she jokes that everything she does is special. But the topic is interrupted by a grumpy Harry who gives Peter the cold shoulder, leading Gwen to explain why Harry is upset. Still, she brings the previous topic back on focus, so Peter asks her to the science expo that evening, to which she gladly agrees, reminding him that she's also a science major. After class, Professor Warren is impressed to learn that Peter is taking Gwen to the expo and tells them to meet him in the front so that he can drive them there. As they wait, Flash spots them while walking with Harry and gets upset after learning that Gwen is on a date with Peter. But Gwen breaks up the confrontation, stating that they'll all meet up at the coffee bean later, and Peter then takes Gwen to their ride. Minutes later, the group discuss the new missile defense system that will be featured, and as they enter the expo, Gwen says that it seems like the start of a James Bond movie. However, just as Peter thinks about how excited he is to be on his date with Gwen, his spider sense abruptly goes off, alarming her by his sudden shift in mood. Then, as Dr. Octopus reveals himself and the crowd breaks out in panic, Peter makes a quick exit to change into Spider-Man and battle the villain. Meanwhile, Gwen wonders where Peter could be, fearing that he must be in some sort of danger. Finally, as the battle ends, Gwen begins to wonder if they should report Peter's disappearance, but he then reappears with the excuse that he was looking for a camera to take pictures. Relieved, Gwen claims not to care where he was, and is just happy that he's back while putting her arms around him, adding that she didn't know he was so habit-forming. Soon after, Warren drives them over to the coffee bean while Gwen tells Peter that it's a shame he missed Spider-Man, as he was simply wonderful. After Warren drops them off, Gwen states how great a professor he is, and then noticing the gang sitting inside, announces that the Parker fan club is in session. Seeing them together, MJ jokes that she only loaned Peter to Gwen, and seeing a stone-faced Harry, Peter wonders if he is jealous. Then, after Peter takes Aunt May and Aunt Anna home, Gwen notices how MJ defends Peter when Flash and Harry insult him, but quotes Hamlet, assuming that she's protesting a bit too much to be sincere. In the coming days, Peter spots Gwen and Mary Jane hanging out together as he drives up to the coffee bean on his cycle. Upon seeing him, the two make jokes and jabs at each other in a play rivalry for his affection, and as the guys nearby look on, they are dumbfounded that Peter has two beautiful girls fighting over him. Soon afterward, Doc Ock makes a visit to Peter's home, leaving a giant hole in the wall, and Gwen arrives to find that Mary Jane is already there to check on Peter. Gwen claims that if she's breaking up anything between the two of them, then it's her lucky day. After MJ playfully retorts back, Gwen says she heard what happened and asks if there is anything she can do, to which MJ jokes that she could start by saying goodbye. After Peter asks Mary Jane if she's ever serious, Gwen knowingly responds that she is, far more often than she'd like him to suspect.